So Manuel, can you see my screen now?
Yes,
okay.
I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to start today's webinar. So today's webinar topic is climate risk and net zero management digital solutions. So basically, I'm Alex Lee. I'm a CEO of the Tech IPM, actually the emerging technology incubation and commercialization business incubating company. And then I have 30 years experience in high tech, almost in IT, telecom, and semiconductor and recently digital technologies. So this will be the nearly my last webinar of this year. That I did almost 10 times of the similar webinar that I developing my idea, and then whenever I have come up with a good idea, then I have want to have opportunity to introduce what I have in mind, and then also have a discussion with the professionals globally. And then so today's topic will be multi-purpose. So because to my understanding that around 60 professionals registered for this webinar. And then I look at their background, and then half of them are ESG sustainability professional. That means that they are almost in the management and the investment side. So they will be interested in like risk management, and then how they manage their sustainability matter, especially the climate change related issues. And also I found several in relate nothing to do with actually the ESG sustainability, but they are mostly in digital and technology space. And then I found also in hybrid that they are not in management and investment, they are but they are in innovation side. So they are working on some way to technology innovation for the like some sustainability like climate change, decarbonization, or other digital solution development. So I think about the audience. So the first part will be mostly for the if you're in the like ESG and sustainability in the management investing side, and almost this topic is for you, and then you many of the topic will be you already know about it. And the second part will be the is a very new concept that I developing recently about the Metaverse enterprise platform. Actually, this is a new digital technology evolution. And then I'm going to introduce what is the mean by the, like this Metaverse, and then how actually can integrate to the ESG. Especially I'm interested in integration of ESG and digital transformation. I call ESGDX. And I'll show you several use cases, and especially to apply to like climate change related issues. And then finally, we have invited speaker, Alexis Norman. She's a business development manager of the Usalia, my business partner that will present like immersive 3D digital twin platform for the building carbonization and any other manufacturing applications. Okay, so time allocation will be around 30 minutes for the part 1 and around 30 minutes to part 2. And maybe in between, maybe it may be better than I will have a short Q&A time. And then after actually the Alexis will talk about the exciting topic about actually show you some demo and actual application of like a digital twins, and then other like immersive like a 3D environment we call Metaverse to apply to the like a decarbonization and natural management. Okay, so first up will be the it's for the traditional like ESG sustainability related issues that are actually that you can like well develop the concept through my topic. So first thing that you need to know about is why it is imperative. Yeah, you know that recently there was a like COP26 in England is the worldwide like the leaders gather together, talk about this kind of the climate change issues and how they can solve globally. And then it was like they discuss about how they actually in the global level and the national level to decrease the carbon emission. And also there is a research about like climate change widespread rapidly and intensifying in IPCC. So we need to be resolve these issues within our century, and especially in the half of this century, the critical time to measure this effort. And then also is a worldwide that, for example, that here is like a Paris Agreement is going on, and then more and more companies are joining for this kind of the global effort. And then also the Davos Forum concentration about this one. And then even in the United States, that we have like, for example, recently $1.2 trillion like a national infrastructure planned by the Biden administration to most of this investment will be about how you get the sustainable like infrastructure and national like a system or something like that. And also you have like a circular zero management, like for example, the waste management and energy management are required. And then also the many individual level companies announced that they're going to do a natural transition through their effort. And then also here is some diagram about what the effect of this climate change to the nature and the human bodies or health, and they will affect everywhere. And I will talk about what their effect. And then also you can think about where the greenhouse gas mostly coming out, and then mostly in the energy sectors, like for example, like electricity generation, and then also transportation and buildings and other energy use like can be like we should consider, and also like industrial like energy used to generate this kind of the GHG greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so here that I just summarized because this is very the amount of topic is very huge. So I'm trying to do like make this one very clearly that show just one page what I mean by the climate change risk and opportunity management here. So I just summarize in one page, and actually this is done by TCFD organization. And then so basic idea is actually the climate change will change it, especially for our economics. So for the individual company, actually the company's purpose is to make a profit, and then economic activities, and then also they care about their society or something like that, like ESG matters. And then so they want to know about how they actually to manage it against this kind of the new type of the risk in the climate change, how they affect. So this is the one way to actually assess the risk, and then how they find out what the impact of this risk to their business, especially people like for example investors, or you're the operating company that are interesting in mostly not just for your business operation, particularly your financial activities like your income or your cash flow or your balance sheet or something like that. So the TCFD provide a very well documented way to how you handle this kind of the risk management. And also like here is a risk also can be an opportunity. For example, that depending on the risk, actually that you can develop, for example, the eco like a friendly product, and then it require the consumers, then there can be a good like the opportunity, or you're in the like renewable energy side, or you are in the like electric car, something like that. Energy saving technology can be opportunity. And then so what you have in mind in here is that first you need to find out the risk. So the mostly climate change risk relate to they usually call like a physical. The physical means that you can think of like weather, like a changing, or the flood, or something like the hurricane. You can think of many kind of like environmental. And then also you can think about like regulation changes and other type of the like economic change it relate to like you can provide they provide some risk in for your like a business. For example, recently that you can think about like a low carbon transition can lead into the like reducing the like a coal type, or for example that the specify like for example the energy source will be changing from the like carbon generation to the carbon based like renewable change, and then they will change like energy cost or something like that. They will be affect your business and also the cost. So that's why that you need to think about the in the like in the natural disaster type of the climate change. There's a fiscal risk, and then also you should think about like a political or other like a technical or other like market wise and other type actually that relate to like a transition to the low carbon economics. You should consider about that one. And then once you identify that one, and then because this relate in the coming year, for example, that the carbon your low carbon transition is will be until a certain time, like for example at the end of the century or in the mildest to like a year 20, 30, 40, 50 or something like that. And then it's a long term, and the short term, long term, mid term, you should consider. And then you don't know about what will happen. There is uncertainty. So you should consider that under uncertain conditions, how you can expect, how you can actually predict what will happen in the future. That's a scenario planning we know by the management side. So actually there are many kind of the scenarios already developed, or you can develop your own scenario depending on the like, for example, what kind of scenario you're thinking about, like for example, globally do nothing, and then the temperature will rise in until without any break, or something like the well we manage. And then we agree about like a Paris agreement under like 1.5 degree increase. And then so you can select the plausible like scenarios, and on the scenarios, and you can test what is impact of your risk under the several type of the scenario. And then you can think about how actually the in the business, especially for the financially, that there what if the specific impact depending on your industry, depending on the business, and depending on your like risk, that the material we call material risk, very essential to your business. And then also here is some step like based on this one, and then you want especially to understand what is the financial effect, like what is their effect for the balance sheet or your like income statement, what is your cash flow, something like this. So, and then actually you want, based on that, you want to have a strategy. The strategy means that how you can actually reduce your carbon footprint, and then have a like a final goal until a certain time that you have a natural your like roadmap program. So this is the one cycle you should think about it. So why I tell you, I'm not telling that I'm not going to do this one in this webinar. Actually, what I'm interested in is that this step is heavily manual and quality, and then here is a lot of the expertise required. And then my interest is how actually it can digital technologies that have in background can have for these kind of complex matters to much easier. So companies and any other like stakeholders related to this like a climate change risk and opportunity can handle this problem more quantitatively and assist by the digital technologies. That's what I'm focused on. And another topic is that once you have identify your risk, and you need a strategy, like how actually the migrate to your carbon natural. For example, that you can reduce. You should understand what is your carbon footprint. Carbon footprint means that, for example, that where is the source, like a source of the carbon generation in your company or your institution. So you need to figure out that where they're coming out. We call it a carbon inventory. And then there are three types of the like carbon footprint, where the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. And then usually the scope 1 means that the internal, so you directly generate. carbon scope 2 is like indirectly, for example, you buy energy, you use electricity to generate, to manufacture something, then actually you indirectly you carbon generation through this original the electric generation company. Or and then type 3 is your like ecosystem, for example, your supply chain under the upstream and your value chain downstream, that they are all to their carbon generation linked to your company. And then once you have it, and then you have a like a and then set the like how the like your boundary there, because you need to settle like whether your company like a multi-company, like you have a several like a business division or the subsides, and then you should think about that where you should set your boundary. And then you set target year, like for example, I'm going to follow the like a Paris Agreement, and then you need to reduce your carbon emission until like a year 2050. And then you have a roadmap, and then you set the time like a midterm, like a year 2030, and then 2040, and then finally natural to your like for example in the year 2050. And then how actually you reduce it. You need to strategy how you can actually reduce, right? For example, that I'm introducing today, that for example, that digital technologies can reduce, make more your energy efficiency way, or the make your like less producing your carbon generation, something like that. So there are many ways actually that you can reduce and then mitigate. Well, mitigate means that there are other technology, like for example, you complete changing your or like a manufacturing system, or you can some other technology like you can like absorb your carbon emissions through the like for example in the some like a carbon capture technology or something like that. So once you have like a risk management, and then it link into the like your strategy, how actually can achieve your goal here. So these are two are related. Here also I'm interesting is not this kind of thing to in the manual. You can see that here is heavily also manual and the quality. So I'm interested in how I can have this side to using this technology to handle this one more quantitative and more the automatic ways. Okay, so this is one example of what the carbon like inventory means. Like you measure every aspect of your company boundary and the measure scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 like emissions. And then here is like one example that how you can achieve the natural transition decarbonization solution. So I made a sectorial like energy supply sector. And then I made make some like how you can reduce based on like what kind of technology can contribute to actually decarbonize your like sectors, and also like transportation buildings, so how you can actually can reduce these sectors, and also like for example food and agriculture and industry sectors, and how actually reduce these sectors. So this is worldwide like effort, and then I saw that there are so many like have expertise and professionals involved in this area, and there are many useful information. But I'm particularly interested is that how actually the digital technologies can contribute to this global effort. That's my focus area. Okay, so why I think about digital decarbonization? Okay, so there are many ways actually that you can reduce, but I'm want to first I'm thinking about digital decarbonization because of my expertise. I'm 30 years in expertise in here, so I can definitely have like a knowledge experience to contribute to this side, and also that they are not the advantage that they are even not considering the dramatically changing in the current system of generating your energy, your current system, the generating your products and so like this. So the introduction of digital decarbonization is attractive because this is like even through the like digital process like energy like efficiencies and optimization and productivity increase. Actually, the day country here is one research that like even 15% of the global like emission by 15% is a fantastic. So So this is why I like this topic, and then I found that this is really a fantastic. I can contribute to this global effort based on my expertise, and also this is something. For example, I'm also interested in. For example, that I'm launching this one, especially in I'm from South Korea in originally. So in the South, for example, South Korea or other countries like is like, for example, Germany, Japan, also they are heavily depending on their industry in manufacturing. So this is a very attractive solution for them because if you want like a changing, for example, in the steel industry, that you want changing every process of the steel generation process by the new, and then it costs a lot and take time, and then it's very disruptive. So I'm proposing that just employing this digital technology, that only that they can contribute a lot to reducing carbon footprint. So this is why I'm thinking about it. Here is the one thing that Accenture and the Dassault system actually has their research. And then and the digital twin is particularly I'm interested in the focus, and this is digital twin is also fundamental building block of the metaverse I'm going to talk about. And then the research is CO2 emission is E means the equivalent is a CO2 and other like greenhouse gas emission reduction, cost saving is the raw. So they, for example, the building construction and the 6.9 gigatons of the CO2 can reduce, and then $288 billion. So here is a total is the 7.5 gigatons of the CO2, and the equivalence of the economic value of the $1.20 trillion can save using this digital twin technology. This is amazing. And then also recently, you may heard about recently many companies in the big tech companies announced that their business will be shifted to the considering metaverse business. For example, that Facebook recently they changing to their name is Meta, and then also Microsoft announced that they are involving in the metaverse solution, and then will be collaborate with Meta. And also NVIDIA is a very famous, like their CEO announced that we are turning into like a metaverse age in the last year. And then here is one example that NVIDIA digital twin project is they simulate to Earth. So they're going to like Earth like digital twins to protect climate change is in the grand scale. So this is why I'm interested in decarbonization through this digital technology. Okay, so this is a digital twin. I'm not going to talk about, but I'm going to point out one thing, that the digital twin, usually the majority of people like working the digital twin, that's industrial digital twin. So this is a digital twin for the product or something like industrial process, like for example, like airplane and the engines, like a power plant, and that kind of thing that is the majority, like 90% currently working on it. But also there is another type is a human digital human. It's like a 3D avatars. It's also the digital twin, and mostly in apply in the healthcare up to now, and then also in the is a very essential part of the metaverse. And also there is another type of the digital twin is a digital twin of organization. Actually, you can make a digital replication of your whole company. That's one actually I'm motivated. I'm trying to make like a metaverse enterprise is based on is like a whole business. Your whole business can be turned into metaverse. And then in that case, actually all kind of the digital twin, like the industrial and the human and then organizational digital detail will be used in the metaverse. Okay, so here is one example that digital technology. I summarize what is a representative digital technology is AI, broken IoT, and then for the climate change, and then AI can contribute a lot. Like for example, like a carbon predicting or greenhouse gas emission management, and then they can also like a building facility, transportation, infrastructure management, like efficient building and the data center or something like that. Also, blockchain is very essential part of it. Like, for example, they provide like a confidential and then very transparent and then and then like a trustworthy database. Also, they provide like, for example, that how in the carbon footprint measuring, how you can actually can provide like the credential about your, for example, your reporting, and there is the issue like greenwashing issues, and then you can, if you put into your like blockchain, and then it can be like protected by that kind of like greenwashing. And then also they can also provide like a decarbonization effort, like for example that you can buy a carbon credit, and then carbon credit can be traded, and the blockchain based like a market price can trade your carbon like a credit through these tokens. And also IoT is a fundamental block for the industrial digital twin, and they provide the data so for your like equipment, your friend, or some other like industrial IoT application to provide the data for you. For example, if the digital project requires the environmental sensing through this IoT technology. And I'm not going to talk about, but they also contribute to like green energy, like linear energy system, how they manage it, and how they can actually contribute to this generation of the efficient and then effective like a renewable energy system, or that they also contribute to deforestation or other like pollution and waste matters. Okay, so this is one example that I could what is by dynamic carbon natural management. Actually, this dynamic means actually that they developed like a dynamic route between digital twin and the actual twins. So, for example, this is an industrial system, and then your digital industrial data twin, and then they are linked by the data, and then they form the feedback loop. And then they can, like, for example, you have some experiment in here to reduce your carbon footprint, or you reduce your energy use. Many kind of simulation can available in the digital space. And then you got some like a scenario as what if analysis based on this digital twin, and then you got the like a final decision making, and then it can be feedback into your physical space, and then they can improve your physical system. And then here is one example. Like this is my South Korean partner. Actually, they actually did using this kind of the feedback loop to like implementing this kind of industrial digital twin for specifically for the pulp generating system. So this is a pulp generating process, and then they call like a process mining. So they did a process mining, and then using AI they developed like a digital twin. They use like a surrogate ways to making the digital twin. And then actually they through this process actually they actually got the 30%, 6% like energy saving. And then thus is a lot of carbon emission reduction. It's one example that you can do dynamically. And then you can like upgrade, just making optimization through this kind of like a digital twin, and then actual systems integrate through the feedback. This is what I call like a dynamic carbon decarbonization management. And then here is some supporting material that actually you may not might interesting. And actually here is actually my idea that how actually digital solution can provide even the like for example, this is for like ESG management, ESG sustainability management, and then investing personnel. So usually they want to actually put, for example, investor, they want their portfolio company usually investee that actually utilizing their invested money to like contribute to like well manage, for example, the well managed against the like climate change risk or the other ESG type risk. And then usually what they're doing is outside in analysis, they call the rating, and then using the outside data, and then get the like what actually in the company or some industry level, compare with their peers, how they may well manage the climate risk or something like that. Also internally actually how you can actually well manage your like a ESG and the climate risk related to like management. So here is one way is unify the solution, and I actually working on it. Okay, and then okay, so here is one thing that I was just thinking about that. I already talked about like for example the like climate change risk management, and also like a net zero carbon transition management actually heavily manual. and heavily qualitative. And then I look at how you can actually combine these two in integrated way, and actually the how you can make automate. So I look at the what is available currently. So actually for example, internal external environmental analysis, the AI big technology can search, access, capture, process, transform, classify, extract automatically. This is one of my another business partner, their expertise in AI. And so actually this is possible. And also scenario, like a climate scenario building is scenario building is very complex way. And then it's heavily manual, but actually, for example, IBM scenario planning advisor actually using some expert system assisted by the AI can generate automatically some scenario, plausible scenarios. So it's possible. And the risk management itself is very important. Like, for example, like this one actually I'm working on it now is like a business financial digital twins can have risk opportunity quantification and impact assessment response mitigation automation. And also this is, so I found some several solution. One is like in UK, so like resilience quantitative risk management solution is one of them. Also like a GHG inventory management, actually the accurate access you like carbon footprint is very important. And then I was, this side also can be done in manual. I saw several, for example, here is like some startup. They have this kind of the automation of the GHG inventory management. Recently I saw many other like Siemens also doing, and other like a consulting company also doing this kind of matters. For example, SAP or doing this, you know. So there are many companies actually developing, providing solution to automatically to GHG inventory management. And then also like, for example, decarbonization, natural transition management. And then this is like industrial digital that I saw you like a dynamic carbon like a management, just a measure like a control and reporting emission energy use reduction. So this is also like my business partner, Mariana, adaptive digital solution can do that. Also like a DTO, like a digital twin of the organization can do like a manage this kind of decommission process. I'm also working on. There are many type of the solution already exists. So I'm interested is not developing from the scratch, but based on this kind of already existing solution, and I want to integrate them and then make interface and then as much as I can based on my subject matter knowledge about this climate change related issues, and then also my understanding of this solution to integrate. And particularly what I'm now under development is like I have two big things actually that I currently under development is like a digital twin of climate change risk quantification and financial impact analysis. So I made a, like for example like it's a workflow oriented risk management system I'm developing. So I can do the like what if climate scenario analysis. And then climate risk management process automation is fundamental core, right? So I'm not sure how much I can do automatically, but the basic idea is like recently there are in the normal business they already apply like a business process mining and the business automation like a robotic like a process automation is available now. And then I want to combine with my subject knowledge about this kind of specific idea in knowledge in the climate change or other ESG matters to combine them, make some scenario. So this is one example that recently published by the Climate Financial Risk Guide. This is one way of the scenario, but the more sophisticated scenario will be required to make a sophisticated digital twins for this kind of process mining. But this is one idea that I'm working on it. The other is I want to making more sophisticated like digital twin for the decarbonization management in the manufacturing supply chain. Particularly, I'm interesting is like for example that this kind of today's my business partner we'll talk about this topic. So this is one topic actually the immersive digital twin, and then and also the human digital can collaborate. Not yet, but I can, because Metaverse, there are many other Metaverse platforms available that human can also actually involve. For example, recently, like the Facebook Meta announced their Horizon like a collaboration solution, or the like for example Microsoft Mesh solution can be a good prototype that I can apply. So these two topics actually that I'm working on it now. Okay, so first I start now, and then if you have a short question, I will do some Q&A time shortly, and then I'll keep going on for the next topic. Is there any question about what I did up to now? Okay, how about Manuel? No question? Okay, so then I will keep going on.
Sorry, I was on mute, Alex.
Okay, so yeah, so
you would you be able to clarify a little bit more the line between automation and manual processes that you described?
Manual means is actually the human, right? A human involvement, right? Automation means usually means, in my case, is AI. So yeah, it cannot be completely automation, right? But for example, that one good example is that some typical business process. For example, that you, for example, you are the restaurant owner, and then there is like, for example, that if you are small, that will be okay, but you're very like well developed business, and then is a lot of the customers want order in the like for example COVID-19, they want a delivery, and then user process will be well set up, and then it can be done like, for example, that you have a like a call center type like AI, then they will receive the call, and then chatbot will be response to your order, and then you order finish it, and then they deliver to the your like for example cookers, and then they made some cooking, and then also the get the order, and then make a payment, and then a delivery, and then this process can be done using automatically, not involving any humans. So automation is that kind of concept. So but as you know that this kind of like climate change or ESG management stuff is very complex, right? So it's impossible like complete automation. So what I'm thinking about is some critical point actually require the heavily involving manual. But if you can provide some digital solution, then it will be very helpful. Like for example, that's for example, you want to analyze for you like what actually the specific climate change risk can contribute to your business, right? And then you have a well set of the like a process that actually the measure the impact, and then you don't need to like for example, you want to do this kind of climate change risk analysis and then some evaluate the impact. Only way now is to like gather together expertise, like subject matter expertise in all other aspects, in then all other people in your business unit to gather together and then brainstorming and then talk about it and then discuss about it and then finalize it, something like that. So I want to have just some tools to automate some part of this step.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I will keep going on because I have only 20 minutes. So I will briefly introduce a Metaverse enterprise platform that I'm developing, and then especially for the ESG digital transformation. So here is this is a very big topic, so I cannot go over everything, but I will briefly introduce what I'm thinking about. So Metaverse enterprise is the motivation. Actually, what I developed is this. Actually, the currently this is the one I make like what is the present and the future of the like Metaverse. Like for example, that I'm not sure whether you're familiar with Metaverse. Actually, the metaverse actually, the recently a lot of people are interested in is this side, a game they call Roblox, like a metaverse game, and also like some digital media, for example, that you can sell your like a virtual land through this platform using the like NFT or something like that. You also you participate in a game space, and then they can interact with like a virtual space. But this is not just for the like the metaverse application for all. For example, that this is Facebook and then Microsoft. They are interested in the more like for this is more like for B2C, like for the general like customers in or general public way. But they want to be more like a business, so it is more like a B2B. So the reason actually doing that is here is yeah, it's purely in the virtual, then general public can join, and then there are many ways actually you can interact. But in the B2B, actually you don't need to do that. But the problem with this is it'll be like there are a lot of issues like a privacy issues and security issues and fraud issues. It'll be coming out. So actually this is not well like tested. And then a lot of people are thinking about the like metaverse is only like immersive in the virtual space. It's not actually. The metaverse is integration of the virtual space and the real space, and then reality is essential part for both sides. And then the digital twin is like a one-to-one like a representation, like a mapping between the real entity and virtual entity. So once you bring this digital twin in the metaverse space, actually you can contribute. You have a see like a dynamic carbon transition, like a carbon management platform that actually they make like a feedback loop through this digital twin, so they can interact. Right here is a no interaction, and then only way to you interact is your avatar to join, and other people avatar join, and they interact doing the game together or some other thing like transactions, or for example participate in the music festival or something like that. This is a media entertainment and then the game space. But here is an industrial business space. Actually they are linked to through your digital twin and physical twin, and then they contribute to each other, and then this will be like a huge potential in economic way. Why? Because of this one, because in digital space there is a space-time resource limitations, so we can tap this possibility, these enablers to bring to like a changing to our real physical system. This is why that I'm talking about it. And then also here that this is one actually. So I want to make a platform, not virtual platform, but contributing to real like enterprise and real industry. So I'm calling like a metaverse enterprise or the industrial metaverse that to like with respect to this kind of the current trend in the most people are working on like the virtual space game and media. And then also so this is one actually why not your complete business? Your complete business can be like have a digital twin, as I I introduced like through the industrial digital twin and human digital twin, and then also digital twin of organization. Then you can make this happen. And then my idea is that this also can implement ESGDX, ESG digital transformation. I'm introduced in the following. And then also the advantage of doing that is businesses can be used on demand without limitation. They call it dematerialization. So in the future, actually your enterprise will have a physical enterprise and then digital twin enterprise. And then in the digital enterprise, for example, you can have unlimited resources, can utilize dematerialization. So this will be the one concept, actually, the metaverse in the Facebook, like a deliver like the horizon to like they provide like a collaboration workspace and then interact through the like a digital like enterprise resources. So this is a similar idea that you can do many things like actual business, R&D, manufacturing, and then and simulate your business in the digital space, and then and then you got the decision making, and then you got the like a prediction, and then you can improve your the actual business through this way. And then doing the actually the you can using like for example extended reality, like virtual reality, other device can be used for to make you more realities. And then also more workforce collaboration in the remote collaboration, like a virus emotion and sense can bring like a digital humans for creating genuine and trustworthy digital interactions through these digital twins. So it's a one step further the traditional industrial digital twins, and also the implementing that to the physical space, and then also virtual space, and then an actual human can interact through this like a virtual space and the feedback to the actual space. This is my idea. And then you can also like many kind of the like idea like a gamification to make workforce engage in driving the future. So I'm thinking about this, even not the metaverse, in the future, I'm thinking about your workspace and the workforce environment will be dramatically changing. This is one thing that I expect is in recently there was a Gartner about the emerging technology for the enterprise, and then heavily they focus on is a digital workforce and IT automation that I already talked about it. So this is I made a mapping that what kind of actually the current emerging technologies can apply. So basically build up this whole system, purely integrate the metaverse that will take a lot of time, maybe 10 years or more. But even as is the current technologies you can implement many aspects of this one and contribute, and then can do some business, and actually you can economic ways to do this one. So this is my idea that, and then so through actually I want to implement ESG transformation. Why doing? This is the one actually the research by the Accenture that if you do like a dual transition, means that the ESG is imperative and digital transformation imperative for your business growth. So if you're doing at the same time, there is a more chance, like 2.5 the chance you can be like among tomorrow's leaders. So based on this research, I tried to make some how actually can, but they didn't provide how actually can implement this integration, right? So I got to come up with the idea actually for example, in the business, every business has a business model. So business, through your business model, you actually you do your business and make a value proposition, and you have your growth, right? You have a cash, and then you process your all this stuff through your business model. So I'm trying to develop, implement it. So I call it like how actually embedding ESG sustainability into your business model. I'm calling like a sustainable digital business model. Then this can enable that through this like a double transition. Here I can prove that you can be like in the growth, there'll be the provider like a new market opportunity and a new business opportunity and revenue stream, this kind of the optimization, demonstration of the resources and assets. So this is my idea. Then so how actually get this one? So I divided by this sustainable like a digital business model by each component. So it's a digital value proposition, and then also value creation and value operating model, and the digital value capture. So my idea is actually that implementing this every component in through this Metaverse enterprise can enable this actually you implementing this double like integrate like a transition through this sustainable digital business model actually can implement by this Metaverse enterprise platform. That was my idea, and then I working on this one. Okay, so I gave you some, for example, this is one example, this is one pattern actually that, so in the future, actually this pattern, so then maybe we already developed some prototype, this pattern application reveal that create in the future that for example, this is smart factory. So in the smart factory, you want to improve some optimization of your manufacturing process, and then you want to do by your like IoT and then AI. And then in the currently what you can do is you need to make some mock-up or whatever test bed and in the physical space. And then also you do some AI to try to do this one, you need like a data. If you have the AI, especially machine learning, deep learning, is you need a training data and then generating good quality, quantity. The data is very significant effort. You need like money. And then if you do in the virtual space, this is a virtual space manufacturing system, is a digital twin. And then also you are involving in here, and then you have also AI machine learning algorithm in here. And then what is the beauty of this? You can emulate your like a training data in this digital twin space, and then you can simulate what will be the process will optimize your like a manufacturing system for the like a smart factory. And then you can do in the digital space and the feedback to real space, and actually you can build up or you can improve the manufacturing system. So this is one way actually that the metaverse enterprise can handle this kind of stuff. Okay, so this is another trial that in the future that this is a retail store that for example, the retail store that you want to know about like what the customers preference, and then what the inventory management. And this is so you can do the similar way actually using like AR VR device and then your metaverse, and you have like a virtual twin shop with your actual twin shop. And then this one actually you provide a lot of information about the like customers preference, what the like inventory stock or something like that, and then apply this to that way. Okay. And then here is another one actually how actually you can do in the supply chain optimization. So this is very important topic, for example, the carbon, the inventory, and then especially the headache for the company to measure and then manage your like scope 3 carbon footprint through your like supply chain. And then this is one solution actually. This provides like a supply chain visibility. And then also like they gather all the data in the context way using AI, and then they generate digital twin for the like for example, the digital twin to representing your like a warehouse and your logistics side. And then also they can involve like a climate change issue with locally, and then they can provide this kind of solution. Okay, so this is one up to now I did. And then next topic will be here is one thing that he will talk about it, like he will talk about how actually the 3D digital twin. The 3D digital twin is what I mean is like immersive, that in my understanding is like a prototype of the like a metaverse enterprise in industrial application. Also talk about some smart building way to save the your like for energy saving in your building or something like that. So I start my sharing. Okay, so I will have a brief Q&A for my topic, and then after actually the Alexis will talk about these fantastic topics. Oh, so one question actually, the Lee, are you still there? Okay, so Lee asked about the why actually the justification for the integrating ESG digital transformation project. Okay, so the reason is that up to now, so ESG sustainability is imperative. Like for example, investors are required to, for example, stakeholders also require that at the company level, and then the like executive, and then also like a company board should consider ESG, the sustainability matters implementing their business. And then the matter is actually a lot of people think about ESG as a cost. What I mean is usually usually the people just think about like ESG. They announce that okay we are, you know, like a capitalism is changing and we are the stakeholder capitalism, so we care about the stakeholders and not just the shareholders. But in reality, whenever they doing their business, that usually the most of the profit is like a private company is for profit. right? So they have like already think about like implementing ESG, sustainability in their the management and strategy as like a cost. Means that they try to implement in some reason. For example, the stakeholders want or the investors want, and then some regulation want. But they never think about this will be another like a business growth opportunity. So that's why then I also like Accenture did like you can change your concept that ESG sustainability is not just the cost, right? You hedging cost, like so through the like reduce your cost, you have a in additionally actively you can generate revenue. You can be used this ESG as your growth market opportunity engine through the integration. That's when I exactly like show you that how you do developing this kind of sustainable digital business model. Then naturally that embedding ESG to your digital business model can actually can be enabler of this economic growth, like the economic benefit or market opportunity to the company. And then this is the way actually the change the like the business situation that ESG sustainability embedding and management is not just for the cost and risk management, but it's opportunity, and then can be like another like a growth engine for the company. That's what I'm motivated. Oh, side effect of humanity. Oh yeah, yeah. This is one actually the not the ESG, but the for example the uh, okay. So how it can be affect the physical and mental health of people. Is this question for the like a metaverse, or is a question for the climate changing like a risk management? And because there are two sides, because this can be applied to any kind of like a business or something like that, right? Okay, metaverse, yeah. Okay, so I think that I only have a few minutes to answer it. So it is like some philosophical and then ethnical issues. For example, that the how you can actually immerse. How, for example, there's somebody that suggested why actually how you actually implement your actual metaverse. Metaverse means that that you are in the remote, but you are about the digital human in like participating in your like a metaverse space, for example, Horizon like a workspace, something like that, and then using like a VR device, and then they make your more reality. And then more immersive means that they think about the as if they are in the physical space, but as if they are in the virtual space. No differentiation between the physical space and the virtual space. And then how your brain, right? Because your brain that assume that you are in the real space, but actually you are in the virtual space, and then your brain will tell you that this is a real, right? Right. This is one actually the for example your movie Matrix. You haven't seen the Matrix. That is a concept like that. So they cannot differentiate between real space and virtual space because your brain recognize this is a real, right? So that topic will be read into like how about the humanity, right? Is a fake, right? Because is you seen the like oracle in the Matrix or something like that. Yeah, that's one very like interesting question. And then, for example, there are recently even for example I want about like a public like a metaverse like Roblox or some other like a media application for the general publics, because I recently I've seen that for example they fake their identity through this space, and then for example in Roblox they can sell and buy some game artifact, and then however what happened that somebody actually fake their identity, and then they like for example they never promise keep their promise or something like that. Also recently I found that someone actually to do some sexually like harassing like behavior in the metaverse space, and then how you can actually the regulate that kind of stuff. So that issue will be not maybe the metaverse will be, but in the digital and the cyber is always that kind of issue. Even AI, like ethnic AI is an issue, but in the metaverse will be more severe. Yeah, definitely, because of this kind of immersive ways the human gather together in the virtual space as if they are in the real space. So yeah, I cannot tell you the whole thing, but this is my brief answer. Then yeah, that will be issue we should be consider. Yeah. Okay, so it's almost the time. So I'm going to hand over to Alexis. Alexis, can you talk about your presentation?
Hi, yes, thank you, Alex. So if it's okay, I think that I will just go through a short presentation, and then I'll go ahead and jump into an actual demo and be able to show you guys the actual twin itself. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Screen. Okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so as Alex mentioned, we are Ursleo. We are a VC-funded startup based out of San Francisco. We were founded in 2017. Our CEO comes from a hardware background, and our COO comes from 10 years in Apple, so very UI focused. And we render digital twins using Unity into 3D models, and we connect them with real-time data. If you hear a little chiming in the background, that is the demo going off. It's simulated data, so there's an alert being triggered. So this right here is a screenshot of one of our models for the decarbonization of buildings. So this is a 2-story home that we've modeled for the active building center. So we create these 3D models that are available on desktop, mobile, iPhone, iPad, and we connect them with real-time IoT data. So we're able to have a comprehensive overview of energy consumption and production if it's coming from renewable sources. And we are able to take in multiple data sources from different sensors and view that in one single screen, which I'll get into more. From there, we're able to track occupancy, track moving people and objects within a facility, and we're able to control equipment and the environment remotely. So the way that we are on the path to net zero carbon future, we are able to, like I said, have a complete energy overview of a home, of a facility. We're able to see any energy stored in the battery. You're able to see exactly what room, or even down to what socket or circuit is producing the most energy or using the most energy. And then from there, you're able to set parameters. And if a sensor reading goes outside of those parameters, you'll then be alerted and able to remotely control anything going on within the facility. So the way that we do that is we have created a very rich data management and translation service. So the problem that we are seeing is that there may be many different sensors needed for a given project, and all of those sensors are they are capturing data for different things. So they come from different manufacturers who provide completely different dashboards. So this leaves the user to juggle multiple different experiences. So we've tackled this issue by building this data ingestion and translation service, and we're able to ingest data from each of those sensor manufacturers through an API interface and translate that incoming data into our internal JSON format And from there, we are able to provide a single digital twin interface that can be used to show all the data being generated, giving a holistic view into a facility's IoT data. So we can then ingest all that data and present it in a very intuitive and easy to use way. So this screenshot that you'll see here is from a different one of our models. And you can see, you're able to see all of the different environmental sensor readings, an overview of the facility itself, and then we're able to integrate with any apps, and you can therefore pull up any other information that you may need. So from there, we're also able to store data locally, allowing for data replay of any period of time. So this is great for reporting purposes, whether that be insurance or regulatory purposes. And it completely just takes away the need for paper reports. So we are able to provide at a glance intuitive views. So like I said, this replaces the multiple 2D dashboards with a single view of thousands of data points. You're able to zoom in for more data, contextual data, zoom out for less. So it's very intuitive. There really is no training necessary. You're able to click on moving objects or static objects like this forklift here, and more information will pop up right there with the click of a button. And then from there, you're able to control equipment remotely. So I mentioned this a little before. If you, for example, want to set the temperature a certain parameter through the 3D model, you can do that. And if the temperature rises or drops from within those set parameters, you can then adjust it through the digital twin. You're able to view these twins on a browser, we have a native iOS application, on any iPad, iPhone, and we will be targeting the HoloLens in 2022. So I'll go ahead and show you this carbonization model here that we have. So this is a 2-story building. We created this model for the COP26 conference for the Active Building Center. So they are using this to showcase how we can decarbonize family homes. So if you click this is going to be where all of your sensors are and the readings. You can click on either sensor and it will take you through this way. You're also able to navigate with your arrow keys on your computer. So you're able to sift through each and every sensor this way. And oops. This right here, oh no, I have the spinning wheel of death. This icon right here will be for collaboration sessions. So you're able to invite anyone, no matter where they are in the world, you're able to invite them to a collaboration session. So that means that the user will see this exact twin on their browser, just like you would be the host for a Zoom meeting, you would be the host of this demo, and you're able to have anyone collaborate with you. So we see that's very useful for remote maintenance, as well as training purposes. This right here is going to be our different visualizations. So right now you can see that we are able to see inside the building. That is because I have that open inside visualization applied. You're then able to view energy consumption, which you'll see over here. And we're able to pretty much apply any type of visualization that the client may need. So we also have applied energy directional flow, which you're able to see, and things like heat maps can be displayed as well. And this right here is that data replay that I was talking about previously. So since we're able to store data locally, you can then come here and choose the time in which you'd like to create a video of whatever happened during that time. If you need to replay for insurance purposes or just internal reporting, you can do that here. And you're able to create a 3D video right here within the twin. And there's a little bit of a processing time right now because I'm on Zoom, but as these red areas pop up, that is, again, this is simulated data, but this is where alerts were triggered. So this area, this period of time would replay exactly what alerts were triggered and why, and you'll be able to save that. So that is pretty much us. If anyone has any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Just a quick one, but it seems to me that most of the interaction is between human and the digital twin. Is there any plan, or is it another part that offers automation? In other words, let me give you an example. Optimize the amount of power spent on air conditioning and heating.
Mm-hmm. So would you, in this example, the automation would be maybe if the energy consumption is outside of the parameters you set, that it would automatically turn that asset off?
Exactly, or monitoring if people are in the building and let's say there is a holiday and people are not there, and change to a different set of parameters.
Yeah, you'd be able to do that all within the twin, and if you wanted to then automate it, that's something that's possible.
So I guess you offer APIs for process automation on top of it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Alexis, when you generate this kind of the 3D digital twin, actually have you utilized like LiDAR technology to actually reflect the actual space geometry?
Yes. So previously we were CAD was the most ideal way to create these models. But we've actually been combining LiDAR scans with photogrammetry recently, as well as Revit within the construction industry. But yes, we just currently received a LiDAR scan from an oil and gas company that we're working with. So we are now applying that, again, because it provides that spacing in any given space. And then on top of that, applying photogrammetry for the actual visualizations of it. And then from there, we're able to even take it a step further. And if there is, for example, say CAD of a piece of equipment, you then within the twin can drop down into that CAD and see the internal workings of that piece of equipment. So we are in the process of creating twins out of a combination of LiDAR, photogrammetry, and CAD.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. You know, actually using the like Epic Games like Unity engine for your modeling. So recently I heard that Epic Games also raised a lot of fun, and then they move into from like a purely virtual space, like I mentioned about in like a Metaverse game, to they deploying like LiDAR technology to actually measure your space in like urban space, and then they making more realistic space in, for example, they're like a spot some specific area of the London in UK, and then they generate the virtual twin of that actual space using that LiDAR technology. So I think it's the right track to have like the interaction between the virtual space, real space through this twin, and then reality is essential part. So that's what actually I'm fascinated in your solution, and this is already implementing. I call it like is already like a prototype of my enterprise, like a metaverse enterprise platform. So yeah, this is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. So for example, what you're talking about, yeah, we're working with a lot of oil and gas companies. So some of these facilities are very old and they don't have CAD. They may only have a blueprint that no longer even is accurate. So that's when we have, we've partnered with a few really great LiDAR scanning companies. So that's where it's really helpful, yeah, to get that spatial aspect and really create a photorealistic replica of what is actually out there.
Yeah, and maybe furthermore, as I told you, my idea that the human can also involve you. In your case, actually, you introduce humans through the remote connection, but actually their avatar will be in the maybe because now recently there are a lot of research like AI humans, and then they can be more interactive, more like emotionally, like closely, or the more like close friendship or something like that. And then the manual talk about like any other, maybe you can have like some chatting room or some other like some meeting room or other kind of the asset can be involved in actually providing more like a workspace like environment in your current application.
Mm-hmm. I'll also drop my email in the chat for anyone if they want to email me and get any more information.
Okay, so Deli has some question like here. Can you see chat now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Let me just read over it really quickly. I will be honest, I do not have all the answers. I am usually not as involved on the tech side, but we have been working with some oil and gas companies out in remote areas of Argentina and Australia. So I know that they have come up with solutions for those more obsolete areas, whether it be Bluetooth, 5G, portable Wi-Fi, as well as did I say Bluetooth? So that's something that I would need John, our CEO, he has more information on that. So I can email you and give you the run through of that, Dale.
Yeah, I think that your solution definitely can apply to the commercial building, right? Because a commercial building,
correct.
Yeah, is under like a regulation. For example, that I thought that there is like a real estate management company actually insist that the ESG, especially environmental, like the management is essential part of it, and then some of the regulations stop actually imposing this kind of, so especially the climate change is one of the biggest climate change, the environmental issues. For example, fiscal like a risk can, like for example, can affect a lot. And then so I think that this kind of thing will be huge potential in the commercial buildings. Also, I think that you're not just because I have experience, like I have lived in United States for 25 years and then more in South Korea, and then mostly this kind of the technology more useful in the Asian country. Like we have like a heavily like a populated area has like in the United States have a individual like house type. It will be very difficult to apply, but in South Korea, in China, in Japan, we have a more like highlight even apartment highlights apartment and like a heavily populated complex. I think that this will be the huge potential to apply that area. And then you know that there's also like a carbon emission resources, right? In the global, right?
Yeah, we actually are seeing universities. A lot of universities are
university also, yeah.
Exactly. So, controlling perhaps like whole dorm facilities and being able to see where energy is coming from, all within the digital twin, and then either shutting off that specific area or sending a notification to the tenant of the dorm room. So we're seeing a lot of traction with the decarbonization of buildings in the university sector and education, and also gas, methane emissions in the oil and gas sector. So now that there will be, at least in the US, there's going to be a lot of new regulation for methane emissions coming soon. So we are now applying in that same LiDAR photogrammetry use case I was speaking about. We then are having, our client is flying a drone over the area with a with either a thermal camera or a methane sniffer, and so we'll be capturing that data and we will apply it as a 3D map within the digital twin so that they're able to see if there's any leaks happening. And so that's our other use case that we're seeing a lot of traction.
Here is another question. It's not technical, but what are the hazards of digital twin technology and what danger it may pose? Yeah, I'm not sure that I have a right answer for this one, but actually I talk about like a digital solution for the like a decarbonization, but you also should know that the digital technology itself have a carbon generation source. Like they consume a lot of energy, for example, the large data centers and then, for example, cloud computing centers. But usually the statistics show that around 3% of the like world carbon generation is contributed by this digital technology. But this community is well known about this one. And then you know that, for example, that Google has their data center. They apply like AI technology can reduce and optimize the energy use, and then also like waste less produce like waste or something like this. So and then also there are communities that are actively working on like a sustainable digital infrastructure consortium. And so contrast to other industries, this digital industry know well about these issues and significantly contribute to not just for the other industries the carbon reduction, also their own industry the reduction. So that will be some way to actually to resolve that the issue with generating carbon by itself in the digital industry. But for the danger, I'm not sure, because for example that I already talk about like for example like a digital twin of some human can be like some danger in some way. But generally, I could not come up with the idea that what might be a danger, right? Like some, I'm not sure, because Alexis, do you have any idea about what will be the danger of the digital twins? This is some philosophical.
Yeah, I agree with you. From a facility perspective or a piece of equipment, I'm not sure, but maybe from a personal aspect of digital twin of a person, there might be some sort of issue, the same way that Alex, you spoke about with the metaverse itself. But yeah, I'm not sure that I have an answer at the top of my head.
Oh, but we should be know that if the digital twin is not sophisticated or some is not exact enough. What I mean is like the digital twin is the digital representation of the real entity or real process. So once you build up the wrong digital twin, that'll be really a problem, right? Because you will,
Yes.
yeah, that's will be very, very serious, right? So,
Yes.
so when you build up your digital twin, you should be very careful. Like you take care of everything, and you measure every effort to make more like a realistic representation of your whatever your like a physical twin. Yeah, that's essential part, right?
Yes, correct. And so similar to that in the construction space, we create twins from CAD and Revit, but we also are able to link the twin to that CAD. So if anything changes within the CAD, that will automatically change within the twin itself. So that has been really helpful during the pre-construction phase. But yes, if the twin is not a exact replication of whatever it is that you're twinning, you run into some issues.
Yeah.
Can I offer an example?
Sure.
Almost 20 years ago, I was working at a factory as an IT person, and this was a small, I think 400-person factory. So the IT department was 3 people. So we did everything from wiring to you name it, to sensors, etc. One of their biggest machines, it was an electroplating machine, was falling out of tolerance and creating scrap at thousands of dollars a day. The short version is the solution was a $10 tarp over a compressor out in the back of the building, because in high summer, the sun came up over the building and shone down on the north pad where the compressor was, which caused the intake temperature of the air to increase, and therefore the cooling coils and the things inside of the machine could not keep up with it. I'm sure if they were building digital twins at that point, they would have forgotten the sun as part of their digital twin. So that's a great example of the inputs, missing inputs, and the consequences thereof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if perhaps maybe there was an environmental temperature sensor connected to that or retrofitted to that piece of equipment, maybe we would have seen that it is rising beyond the heat parameters that it should be and able to step in prior to those thousands of dollars a day, maybe gotten in a little earlier.
Well, actually, that's how we found it, because we tracked the temperature over time through a RS-232 port, dumping into an Excel file, which was graphed. And when we saw, oh, 2 o'clock in the afternoon is when everything goes out of tolerance, let's go and find out where this compressor is. And so absolutely. But if all that had been part of a larger system with maybe some AI or something, we wouldn't have been looking at it in past tense. So, but that's the kind of thing that has to be taken into account, is to make sure that all of the inputs are a part of the digital twin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Experience. Oh, Paul, are you there?
Hey, Alex. Yeah, I am here,
Yeah,
but I'm just about to go into another meeting. I apologize, but
yeah.
I mean, everyone's
Actually, I explained everything about Mariana and the relation to my like a Metaverse enterprise platform development. Actually, can you briefly introduce about especially the adaptive digital twin is very important topic. That is why I'm fascinated in your solution to integrate to my platform. Can you explain about that briefly, about how you can be like an AI-based, like a adaptive digital twin and application for the supply chain management, and then also like a manufacturing for that? Paul? Paul, can you hear me?
Alex.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you sometimes. I cannot hear you sometimes. So,
Am I audible right now?
oh, I see. Okay. Okay, then you can just talk about briefly about what is meant by that, like a digital twin.
So Alex, you can hear me, correct?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
All right. So really quick, I just thought the points that Alexis and Dale were bringing up, I mean, they're pretty poignant. So it's absolutely right. If you have all these systems that are sensing, situations around the industry or around your factory, getting visibility into that, something that's actually monitoring anomalies, for instance, would help you identify those problems a lot faster. So the thing that's really common in digital transformation, the problem that's very common in digital transformation is how do you tie the context and the value of the data that's residing in the ERP, along with all the data that may or may not be residing in the inventory system, as well as in the MES, as well as in the PLC, as well as in the SCADA, as well as in the historian, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, quality, et cetera. So what are and also trying to tie the value and context of all that data across all those different silos manually can be somewhat cumbersome, especially if you consider that sometimes processes change, sometimes product names change. The problem compounds. So one of the core aspects of our AI is we automatically create the digital twin. So it's not in the same way as what Alexis is talking about. I have a lot of experience, probably like 15 years in asset documentation, which is what Alexis is talking about when she talks about partnering with LiDAR and photogrammetry companies. So that is a very valid, a very important component of the digital twin that is reflecting the physical dimensions of a physical object in a digital world. And so that is one component. The other component would be tying the intelligence from sensing or sensors to the physical geometry the physical assets in your factory. So she's also referring to that. So well stated. What typically happens is that in a production environment, if you have a bunch of raw materials coming in and you have a bunch of intermediate nodes or processes that raw material goes through and then finally produces a product, at the end of the day, if you had complete traceability across every single node in your supply chain for that product's life cycle, then you would have absolute control over anomalies. You'd have absolute control over quality, et cetera. And so that's what we deliver is Mariana ties the value and context across all data, across all silos. We do it automatically. The AI does the work and it's adaptive. So not only is the digital twin a static representation of yesterday, it's actually a representation of yesterday, as well as all the information that we're going to gather from your sensing data, from your various resources, including paper or analog information like written notes on a piece of paper saying, yes, something was turned on, or saying that a particular process node was operating at a specific temperature. Sometimes that kind of information comes through in a paper and then it's digitized. This happens a lot in pharmaceutical. We contextualize everything together. And so at the end of the day, for pharmaceutical, this is speak specifically about that industry because it's relevant for everybody else, but it's quite interesting. What pharmaceutical gets is they have a complete product genealogy. In other words, they have everything from the raw material, every single intermediate node. They know every single possible interaction that people interacted with, as well as they know exactly where that paper data, what the intelligence contained inside that, how it relates to the specific nodes across the manufacture of that product or drug. So that's all I'll talk about.
Okay, so it's almost time to end of today. Okay, so thank you for everyone, especially the Paul and Alexis, about the great talk and the great presentation, and also today's participants is a very fantastic, wonderful, have a very interesting like a question and then discussions. Okay, so thank you for all and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Same to you.
Sorry for
Have a good
jumping in at the
day.
end, but I really appreciate it.
care.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
No, that was helpful. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye.